Hello guys, welcome again to session number 3. Today we will be discussing about data structure. What's data structure? Its core concepts, fundamental concepts, why we use it, and how it is important to us. So be ready for that? Here we go. So our agenda is to discuss about the C, which is a programming language, to review about that, what are the basic things about the C which we will be using for the data structure. Then we will discuss about the different data types, and we see that which data types are normally being used in data structure. Then we will be discussing about the abstract data types and how it is different from the others. Then we will discuss about the reading task, hands-on task, and what is next and how we will be ready to the next level. So here we go. So for the C review, as we discussed already about the different data types, the variables, the different syntax, and how we can go for the selection structures, what are the repetition structures, like which is known as the loops, that what we discussed in our previous lecture, what are the different functions like if and else, and other functions, we call them functions, we call them methods in Java, and what are the arrays, and how these things are going to help us actually in terms of the data structure. So it's very important to understand about these things as we will be able to use them for data structure purposes. Now, what's the programming? As we discussed in our previous sessions as well. So in programming, we are actually aimed to finish the task to make the programs efficient, easier, and they can give us the right results. That is the more efficient way for writing the programs. Our focus is that how we can get the right output with the more efficient way. So now, while we are going for to achieve these things, it is not actually that we just started to write a program, but we have a mechanism to follow the steps. We have the phases we need to follow, and the data structure is there which actually help us to overcome on these issues or points that what we are elaborating here. So now you can see those phases while we're writing the programs, they are known as the system life cycle or system development life cycle, and we also call them SDLC as well. So with the different names as well. So they all are pointing to the same. So in system life cycles, we have different phases. So there are the 5 major phases. Number 1 is about the requirement. Number 2 about analysis. Number 3 is about the design. Then refinement and coding. And finally, the verification. And finally, we can go for implementation. How these phases are actually working to make a software workable. It's very important. Whenever we go for any of the software, we always start from the requirement collection and we always end at verification and validations, and then finally we will be able to launch or deploy the software. So now for these, all of the purposes, how we are doing and how we make sure that our program has the right features. Our program is actually readable and our program is actually efficient. So this is the right approach to go to divide our program into the different modules. And for dividing into the modules, this is where the data structure helps us. So we need to work in the different modules and then we join their functionality and come up with the right output of the program at the end. This is how the data structure is helping us. Now, if suppose we see that concept is known as modularity. So this is actually, we are breaking down our main program into the small segments, into the independent segments, into the small meaningful segments. So it means each of the segment, a part will be known as a segment, as a module, as a function, or as a method. They will be independent and they will be focusing, working for some assigned related task. So this is the desirable feature to make our programs efficient, accurate, and correct. So the modules are given with the different names, with the different programming languages. When we talk about the C, we refer them with the functions. When we talk in the Java, we refer them in the methods. When we talk to some other language, we refer with some different names. But they are actually pointing to the same. Okay, so this is the most important point we need to understand. Now, how is the structuring of the data? This is the most important. So to make our programs very efficient, it's not only enough that we just try to make them into the different modules, but it's entirely important for a programmer that the programmer has to see how many different values we are breaking the program, why in such number of the values, how they are interlinked with each other, what are their relations, and how they will be performing at the end of the day. This is very important concept, and this is all actually being done with the help of the data structure. That's why the data structure is very important, and it is here. So that study concepts as the various different structures and various structure types where we can combine them. We can compare the different types of the data structures as well. We can design the different type of the algorithms, and we can manipulate the data structures. So this is how the data structure is helping us to improve the quality, to solve the critical problems, to break the programs into the different modules. That is about the data structure. How it is further helping us, so we can see in a simpler way that a collection of data elements whose organizations is managed by the operations, okay, that is actually used to store and access the individual data element. That is known as the array, the concept of array. So how we are organizing the data, this is again who is helping us. The data structure is the one who is helping us. So now I hope you understand that what it means by the module and how we are breaking it and what are their relations and how the data structure is actually helping us. So when we go for the data structure, so you can see that the data structure has the different structures. We break them into the two major types, main types. One is known as a primitive data structures, and the other one is known as a non-primitive data structure. So primitive data structures are the standard data structures, like further it can be defined as a Boolean, as a character, as a real values, as an integer. And when we go for the non-primitive, again it is subdivided into the two different groups, like a linear data structures and non-linear data structures. So like arrays, linked lists, stacks, these all comes under the linear data structures. And in non-linear data structures, they are the trees. So you can see what's the difference among them. So the primitive and non-primitive, and then we are dividing it the linear and non-linear as well. So this is how the data structure is actually structuring the data, which help us to come up with the right and efficient programming outputs. And our target and focus, we focus on for the right output of the program. So we use the different types of the data types in all of the programs. As we use the different types of C, because in case if suppose we are using the data structure using the C, then we will be following the data types what we are using for in the C. In case if suppose we are following the Python, then we are supposed to follow the data types what we are using in Python, then we can use this one. In case if suppose we are using the Java for the data structure, then we are supposed to follow all of the types that we are normally use in Java. So you need to understand here that which tool we are using, which programming language we are using for the data structure, we can go for that. And for each of the programming languages, we can use the data structures. And you know that why we are using the data structure. It's very important. And now we have the abstract data type, which is normally known with the terminology as an ADT in the data structure, which is known as the abstract data type. And it is actually a mathematical concept to define the data. So you can see the arrays, you can see the time, you can see the structures, stacks, they all goes to the ADT type of data. So I hope you understand while we discussed in our previous slide about the primitive and non-primitive and then the linear and non-linear data. So it's very important to understand. So this is all about today. I hope you understand. We just have a recap that what is the data structure, why we need the data structure, what is the modules, how we need a module, how programmer can need and use these modules, how programmer can have a relations and links based on them, and how and what are the different types of the data structure, and how we are using them, and how it is important to make our programs efficient, and how the data structure is something which is not specific, but we can use the data structure with the different programming languages. This depends on our choice. So please go through with the reading related material which is available to the times, further material, and you can complete this one, these tutorials. It will give you the more insight about that how you can be able to use them. And the detailed slides are also present there. So please go through with them. And last but not least, which is the data structure fundamentals, the video is there. So please refer to that video, go through with that video, as you can understand the more things practically about that. And once you are done with this one, then you will be able to go hands-on practices of your exercises. Then you just see that how you can create the different modules and how you will be able to use them. And you can explore the further by having the further studies from the tutorials what they are available. And then you will be ready for the next round. So thank you very much for today. I hope you understand the points and you enjoy your learning, and be ready for the next session. Thank you once again, and goodbye. Thank you.